Welcome to the Anchor Your Retirement podcast. I'm your host, Barbara Gullen, on this sunny but still brutally cold February day, hanging out with my buddy and pal, my co-host, Tony Shore. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Barb. How are you today?
Well, we might start to thaw out a little bit today. And
Yeah,
by
this
thaw out, I
weekend
mean we're getting in the 20s.
we could hit 40 on Sunday this weekend here in Minnesota, which would be huge.
Yep, we're going to be in the 60s the first part of next week. And I
Oh,
am not
oh.
going to complain.
No. Yeah, if when it hits 40 here, I'll be running around outside in a t-shirt and short pants. I have to break out the short pants, as I always say. But yeah, it'll be nice to thaw out a bit after that Arctic blast, the polar vortex, whatever you want to call it. Wow, I think I told you last time, but we got down to. I woke up in the actual temp. I have it on my phone. I saved it. 17 below with a 22 below wind chill. 17 below is the actual temp.
That's wrong.
Yeah, and they said, there are advisories. Don't go out if you don't have to. Make sure you have emergency kit in your car. If you spend 10 minutes or more outside, any exposed skin will frostbite and burn from the cold, and your eyes will start to freeze. It's like that is insanity, right?
Yes. All the things that Mother Nature can do to us biologically.
Yeah, and why do I live? And then people say, why would you live there? I don't know. I love the people and I love the state, but I'll tell you what.
The lakes. I mean,
in the summer, those 3 months out of the year, it's beautiful here.
It is. And, there's a lot to do in Minnesota that doesn't have anything to do with being in a city.
Right.
So,
there is.
I mean, just like there's a lot to do down here.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Kansas is great. The Kansas City area. So, and Missouri, love it.
We've licked our wounds from the Super Bowl defeat. I don't think. Did we talk? Yes, we've talked once.
And now USA has to lick its wounds after last night's hockey championship.
Well,
Canada, though, they're so good.
They are. And they gave them a good run for their money.
They did. It went into overtime. So
they have nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was a great game. Well, and we're going to move on from sports to the topic, which is kind of the thaw. We're headed towards spring. I mean, March is just a few days away here, and
we are, yes,
and hopefully warmer weather. In Minnesota, it can still snow as late as May. So
we've had snow down here in May too. So you're not alone there.
Hopefully, spring will come earlier though this year. And you know what, my wife and I are looking forward to doing is spring cleaning.
A necessary thing.
But this year, for the first time in 25 years. We're going to get a dumpster and have it in our driveway, and we're going to clean out the rafters in our garage, our storage room in our basement, and all the storage in our garage, which, if you could see it, we've saved everything for 28 years, basically.
Well, go big or go home. I've been in my house 27.
Yeah, we're 28. We got you beat by a 1 year, but we need to get it cleaned out. We need to start thinking about maybe either downsizing or moving into a one level at some point. So we need to get rid of stuff so our cars fit better. I can fit 2 cars in my 2-car garage. I'm proud of that.
That's
but not with much room.
And I have been going through lots of stuff in my house and packing up donations. And, like you, doing a little purging, a little downsizing. I don't know if you know this, in my former life, before I became an advisor, I was a baker. And
yes, I knew that.
My house actually has 2 fully equipped kitchens.
You've mentioned that. I think that's awesome.
Yes, but you know what? Your girl doesn't need 2 fully equipped kitchens anymore. So, I have some stuff that I bought when I was like 12 or 13 years old. that I still have.
Oh my
Cake
goodness.
cake pans and things that are probably collector's items now. I'm gonna hang
Sure.
on to a few of those, but it is time to
Purge.
spread the wealth
The
a little
purge,
bit. Yeah.
as I like to call it. And
Yeah.
you know, I have a system that's pretty good when we've had to weed out stuff before,
Mhm,
and we've done it in smaller bits, but this year's the big one, and I've put
mhm,
my foot down. We're gonna do it. Um, but the system is you have three piles: keep,
mhm.
give away, or
And
throw
throw
away.
away.
That's the and the giveaway can be if there's something you really think you can sell and we want to take the time, maybe. But
Mhm,
I try to force it into those three categories: keep, giveaway, in other words, haul to Goodwill, or throwaway. And the biggest amount should be throwaway
mhm.
and giveaway. And if that keep gets too big, then we've got a problem.
Then
So
you've gotta start reassessing things.
yeah, that's how I do it. Now, how about your finances?
I was gonna say it's the same with your finances, although we want the keep pile to be the biggest one there,
right? Yes,
usually.
yes,
Usually. But, this is the time of year people are working on their tax returns. A lot of people have already submitted their tax returns
yeah,
and are waiting on the refund because most people who have to pay don't file until April 15th. So, um, but when you're going through all of your statements and taking a look at everything that you're getting ready for with taxes, it's a good time to take a look at everything.
yeah,
Even it is a tedious process, and most people only get these electronically now. But to me, it is worth the effort to go in and print out like 3 months worth of bank statements and credit card statements and any other recurring monthly statements that you get.
yep,
It's a good time to flip through those and see if, and I know there are apps that can do this. It's up to you whether you want to put your personal information into an app where your information could be compromised. I am not an advocate for that, in case couldn't tell by the way I'm talking about it.
right,
You want to look for duplicate subscriptions, things you're not using that you might be paying for. Um, I happen to be a bit of a Words with Friends addict.
yeah. I love
So,
that.
but with an Apple Pay on my phone, it's really easy when I need coins to just double click and get a few more and not pay attention to how much I'm spending with that kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
spring cleaning is looking at the good, the bad, the ugly. That keep, giveaway, throw away. I'm not saying I'll never play Words with Friends again, but I might be a little bit more intentional about limiting how many times I buy those coins.
sure. Yeah, I love Words with Friends.
Isn't
Love
it?
it.
It's addictive.
It
Um,
is. It is.
and
And
they almost
Wordle,
they
I
can
love all
design
those
it that
types
way.
of games. Like
Yes,
Wordle, I
yes.
love doing Wordle.
Yeah. Now I will always pay for the upgraded subscription on Words with Friends because I can't stand the ads.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah.
So $12 a month is worth it to me to not have to watch them advertising yet another game that they think I need.
right.
So, um, but now is a good time. We don't have the pressure of holiday spending on us. Spring break is right around the corner. I don't think as many people travel for spring break as they used to. And like down here in Kansas City, we've had so many snow days that there's a possibility that some districts are going to cut spring break short so that they
Yeah.
don't have to go beyond what that final day. Nobody wants to go to school past Memorial Day down here. I don't know
Right.
what the school calendar looks like for you guys,
It's the
if it's
same.
similar. Yeah.
Yep. It's the
So,
same. And they might cut spring break here too. Yeah.
right. So, when you don't have the imminent pressure of some spending coming up, it's a good time to look at where you are and figure out if there's things that you can reduce, reallocate, um, make sure that you're not pulling out like a subscription for more than one music streaming platform. You
There
know,
you go.
you're
Yeah.
paying for redundancy doing that,
Right.
pretty much. Um, and I know that there has been a lot of talk, a lot of us cut the cord with cable and went to streaming services because it was less expensive. But now, with the way the streaming industry has segmented itself, if you're not careful, you can be spending as much as you were spending on cable or more because you're streaming, this application for that series and that application for another series that's only available there. If there's a series that you just absolutely have to watch, subscribe, watch the series, and unsubscribe.
Yep. Yeah, I've done
Save the
that.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that just you subscribe. Um, one of the biggest irritations in my world is the 3 months free for something, because 3 months down the road you forget that you signed up for it.
Yeah, that's why they
and
do it.
and exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a good time to take a look at your subscriptions and the stuff that you're doing online. I miss the days when we used cash for almost everything,
Oh, yeah.
because psychologically there is something different about pulling money out of your wallet.
There is. And watching it go and watching it dwindle, like, wow, I
Right.
started the day with $80 in my wallet. I'm already down to 40. I gotta stop spending. But when you
Right.
use the plastic, it's just,
You don't even think about it.
and now it make
And
it so easy. You just tap it and you're done. You walk
Mhm.
away. Tap, done. Tap, done. Oh, I want that. Tap. I'm done. It makes it so much easier. There's less pain.
Yes, yes. And I know people who do no spending months, like in March and April, because
Yep.
aside from Easter, you don't have a whole lot of big things going on then, usually. I mean, I'm talking to you who don't have kids going to prom in high school, but they
Right.
pick those months where they're not going to eat out,
Yep.
or they might limit it to once or twice, like
My
with
wife
March
and I have done
Madness.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and a guy I know actually wrote a book called Intermittent Spending. Dan Wendell down in Florida wrote Intermittent Spending, and it's like you've heard of the intermittent
Hmm.
dieting. He just took that concept. All he did is stole the intermittent diet
Hmm.
book and turned it into how to save money. Instead of saving calories or dieting,
Hmm.
you're dieting with your money. And
What
so
what a cool concept.
it's a great concept, but you just said it yourself. It's basically what you just said, and that is you set aside a month where you're not going to eat out. Set aside a month where and when you see how much money you save, people think, oh, you're talking about piddly. They always say,
Hmm.
you cut out Starbucks and you'll save all this money, but hey, I owe it to myself, or I make enough money. But you'll be surprised if you do that intermittent spending like that,
Hmm.
have a month where you don't eat out, or have a month. We're not going to Target at all this month, right? My wife and I
There
have
you
done
go.
that because we look at last month's bill and we're like, we spent how much at Target?
Yes.
Or we spent how much at this? For some people, it might be Walmart. For some people, it's Kohl's. It's different stores. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
signal out a
No,
store,
no, but
but
I will
everybody
tell
has their
you,
weaknesses, right?
and I will tell you that my best ally with that is the apps where you can let somebody else do the shopping for you and pick it up and have them drop it off at your car, which
Yes.
Target does, because then I go in and I shop for what I need, and I don't go past any of the other aisles that might catch my eye, have me wandering through,
Oh, I'm so
you
bad
know.
about that. I'll admit, I that's my weakness. If I go to Target, I'm like, I'm browsing. I'm
Mhm.
browsing. I'm filling up that cart. I'm like, oh, let's check out the books and the movies and the
And it
music,
is
and let's.
so easy to rack up another 100 or $200.
And I went in there for a 12-pack of Coke Zero, and
Right,
I come out with
right.
a
A
a
cart full.
book and
Mhm.
something for the kids. You know how it goes.
And again, when you're swiping your card versus pulling those dollars out of your wallet, you don't make the connection until you take a look at your statement and see what
Right.
actually happened. And a lot of people don't look at those statements.
Right. A lot I don't usually. That's the
Yeah,
problem. Yeah.
yeah.
And so we've started to do that.
Mhm. And, most times people take for granted that everything is just status quo. And you can have a recurring charge of 5, 10, $50 a month that you don't miss the money until you miss the money.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And but if you do that, like you said, maybe pick a month, like March, we're
Mhm.
not going to eat out.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised at how much you save. And my wife and I, do a sit down at least once a month and do the budget for the next month, and then we look at what we spent the past month, and we're always shocked. Wow, we spent this much on household goods, or we spent this much on groceries, or this much on gas. And they're like, "How did it get to be that amount? We only figured calculated for this much." And so we'll go, okay, this month we can do better. You see the areas. So
Mhm.
it's good to look at. I know people hate the B word, budget, but you've always harped on this, Barb, and that is, you gotta look at your spending plan and
You
review it. Like you
do.
said, print out 3 months of your bank statement and
Mhm.
go over it. Are there duplicates? Where is your money actually going each month? That's huge.
Right. I mean, I talk to people all the time. One of the things that we do before somebody comes in for a complimentary consultation is we have a 30-minute strategy session phone call before they actually meet with us. And in that strategy assessment, we go through 5 main topics: your assets, your liabilities, your income, your expenses, and your estate plan, and just hit the 30,000-foot view there. And when I have somebody that tells me that they're taking home $8,000 a month, but they list off expenses that are about 5, maybe $6,000,
Hmm.
and they have no money in the bank, and they have credit card debt, depending on where we are, I'm having a conversation going, guys, I can put together a plan for you that shows you spending this much. But when I look at what's going on with the information that you've given me, my guess is that you're spending more than you realized. And so before we put together this plan, I want you to go back and do this homework
Right.
so that we know we're putting together a plan for you in retirement that is a sustainable plan,
Right.
not one where you have to come to us every couple of months or every month and pull extra money out of your retirement savings that we weren't planning on because of circumstances that are going on.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it is so important, and I know when you sit down with the people you meet with and your
Mhm.
clients and go over these plans, you really do need to figure that out, and especially the closer you get to retirement, you really have to have a handle on your spending and
You
your
do.
budget.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's no skin off of my nose if I put together a plan with the money that you tell me, but you're going to be upset with me if it ends up being too little. And you're going to think I didn't do my job when realistically you didn't have your arms around what you were spending. And I'm not judging you for what you spend. We just need to make a plan that lines up with what your spending is. And if it looks like you're going to run out of money at that current spending rate, it's my job as a fiduciary to bring that to your attention. But I cannot sit there and slap your hand every time you go to swipe a card.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And so you can only hold people accountable to a certain extent as their financial advisor, right?
And yeah, I mean, it's my job to show them how they can retire. It's my job to show them where the money is going and where the money has been invested. It is not my job to be their parent and tell them, you're there are times where we have to have the conversation where I say, if you continue to spend this money, you may have to think about going back to work. But ultimately, the choice is yours.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier for you to retire if you get disciplined with your spending And, this might be a little bit more of a downer podcast than we normally have, but the sooner you take a look at it, the sooner you can make those course corrections and know that you're not going to be in a place in retirement where you are worried about every little penny.
Yeah, that's true. You want to be able to sleep well at night in retirement, and having a plan in place, you don't have to worry, will I have enough money? Will it last me as long as I do? Will my money last as long as I do, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
you don't want your bank account to hit zero before your blood pressure does. I like to
precisely,
say.
precisely. And we want you to have the lifestyle in retirement that you envision. And it's our job to help you realize what the strengths are of your current plan and where you've got some places to improve. And sometimes the easiest place to improve is in reducing your financial outflow.
Hmm. Yeah, and so that's all. This is all a part of spring cleaning
It
because
is.
these are the ducks you need to get in a row, and you'll feel so much better. People who have gone through the process of purging or weeding out stuff, right?
Mhm.
You feel so much better when you're done, right?
Well, my grandmother always used to say, if you keep the corners of the room clean, the whole room will be clean. This is getting into the corners.
I like that. I haven't heard that one before. If you get the corners
If you
clean,
keep the corners of the room clean, the rest of the room stays clean.
that's awesome. I
Now,
love that.
having had teenagers, I question the validity of that
Well,
philosophy.
a teenager could throw that logic only works until you have a teenager. Yes,
Yes,
trust me,
yes,
I
and it's
know.
about being but it's about taking care of, if you keep the main thing, there are things that you're not going to be able to control in terms of expenses. You really can't control when your property taxes or your homeowner's insurance goes up. You might be able to shop for a less expensive homeowner's insurance, but you might also be giving up some coverages and benefits going for the less expensive premium. You need to have some margin in your budget to allow for those things to happen. And, I encourage everybody, and I'm not saying anything here that I haven't told my own kids to do and that I don't do myself when I
Right.
sit there and take a look at things.
Yep, I think that's important. Now, if our listeners out there want to get a plan in place or need help
Sure.
getting started or have questions about their finances, how can they get a hold of you, Barb?
They can always go to our website, anchoryourretirement.com, and you can call us at area code 913-553-6222 and select option 4 for appointments and scheduling. Amanda will either answer right there on the spot or she will call you right back as soon as she has a minute, get you on the calendar with either myself or one of the other qualified fiduciaries in our office that can help make sure that you're covering these bases and setting yourself up for some success financially rather than self-sabotaging.
Yeah, there you go. That's important. Well,
Mhm.
Barb, great show today. Once again, listeners, if you want to set up a no charge, no obligation consultation with Barb and her team there, call 913-553-6222. And that does it for today's episode of Anchor Your Retirement. Thanks, Barb.
We'll see you soon, Tony. Have a great day and a good weekend.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye.